Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. I tell you what, I love technology. I do. I do love it. I don't care what it does on its own sometimes. I still love technology. Welcome to this platform, Project 365. And today we would love to share this platform with our younger generation. They're adults, but they are younger than younger than many of us. And we like to call it the voice of the next generation. But I am Portia Wheatley. I am the founder and the president of a nonprofit organization acknowledged as Trophy of Life Incorporated. And we love to share hope, encouragement, and inspiration. And at this time, I'm going to bring in my co-host so she can take it away for the remainder of the video.
All right, everyone. My name is Takira Swan, for those of you who do not know, and I am so happy to be here on this beautiful Saturday morning. And we have a special treat for you. Our guest, we call him Q. I've known him for quite some time now, a couple years, and I can personally attest that he is an awesome man. He is an educator, a coach, a mentor. He is a member of the alma mater of the school that I went to, Morgan State University. Whoop, whoop. And he has some thoughts to share with you today. So Q, take it away.
Thanks, Takira. I appreciate it. First and foremost, it's an honor to be on this platform and to be able to share. Thank you so much. It's definitely a joy to be on Project 365. I've been listening and following along, and all been great. It's been inspirational. So it's definitely an honor to be able to share my story. Before I get started, it's nothing deep, but I believe my story revolves what has helped me specifically has been three scriptures, and I'll get to them. But Jeremiah 29:11, Romans 8:18, and Romans 8:28. Starting with Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans I have for you, saith the Lord. Plans to prosper you and to give you a hope in the future, right? So it was that scripture that kept me, I guess, in a good mood or in a better mood during the times where I wasn't feeling so hot about myself. Starting with my bad habits, the bad habits that I've had since probably middle school, since I was a young teen, right? It was those habits that, because I never address them, they followed me to high school, and then they followed me to college, right? I've always known that I wanted to become a basketball coach, lead my own program to mentor young men, and that's been on like my main priority. So when I got to college, I was definitely fortunate enough to join the basketball staff at Morgan State as a student assistant. So that was such a blessing, right? And it was such a blessing where I thought, wow, this is my shot. This is my time, right? So I fast forward 2 years. So my first 2 years, I'm doing great on the staff. God is really blessing me to see, the United States and to experience a lot of different things. But those bad habits, right? And the habits that I'm talking about are time management, priorities, right? Organization, those things I just did not address, came back and showed its head. And my school suffered. My academics suffered, to the point where after my sophomore year at Morgan, I got a letter from the dean, said, Mr. Dulic, we regret to inform you that you would not be allowed back on campus. So here it is. I'm a Christian. I'm saved. I work hard. I'm not doing anything I'm not supposed to do. And I'm thinking that, God is blessed me to follow my dreams. And yet I get this letter, right, of saying that I can't come back. So, I prayed God. I'm like, why did it come to this point? And long story short, as it goes, I went in during the summertime. I tried all summer to reach the dean before school started back up, and I just couldn't reach her. So I went into the building and to try to schedule a meeting or to see what I could do. And the secretary had said to me, "I'm sorry, Mr. Dulic. Um, the dean is busy. She has meetings. She has meetings. She's very busy. I'm sorry. There's nothing else I can do." And I pleaded my case, and I basically told her that I believe that God has a plan for me. I quoted Jeremiah 29:11, and I didn't know if this lady was a believer or not. I was just trying to figure out my way. Can I get back on the right side? How can I get back to school? And she said, "I'm sorry. There's nothing I could do." So in my head, I turned around. I was like, "You know what, God, I know you have a plan. I'll still praise you. I'll still serve you." And I reached for the door, and I heard a voice, and I promise you, it was not the same voice as the secretary lady. And and she said, "Man of faith, have a seat." So I went back to my seat and I start bawling, crying, because just as the faithfulness of God. And long story short, I end up being reinstated. And so it took me 6 years to graduate from college. And still, during that time, during that process, I wondered why. I asked God why so many different times. Why this? Why that? Um, and also on my journey of being a coach, a basketball coach, a mentor. um, for those who don't know me, I am not I'm not big in stature. I'll put it that way. I'm 5'6.5", 5'7" on a good day, and a lot of other people who are in my position right now. Um, they are former players at a high level, or they at least look the part. And growing up, I've heard all the short jokes and things like that. So that's another thing that I've heard. That's another thing that I've heard. Uh, and I've experienced like the hardships, and I've asked why? If you put this into my heart to do this, God, why? Right? And I go back to Jeremiah 29:11. Right. And God knows the plans. He really does. And a lot of times we have our own plans, but we just have to trust the process, and trust the process to what God has for us. So I grinded out my years trying to be this coach, try to be the head coach of a program, have my own program. And and time would go on and on and on. And and I'm here to share with you. Not only am I a graduate of Morgan State University, but I became about 3 years ago, at the age of 27, the head basketball coach of my own program at the Avalon School. Which, and at that time, I was one of, if not the youngest, head coaches in the whole DMV, the DC, Maryland, and Virginia, the whole region. And I don't take it for granted. I don't say it and to gloat about it, but just to understand that there's a process for everything. And sometimes during your process, you're going to go through some pain. You're going to go through some things, but there's purpose to the process. There's purpose to the pain. And one of the things that I get excited about um, is the stories of different superheroes. And we were younger, or even now as we're adults, we understand and probably watched, whether it's Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman, right? We have a knowledge and understanding of who they are, right? But when you dig deeper into a superhero, you find out that before they became a superhero, right, when they were younger, at some point they went through some type of adversity, right? You can name any superhero you want. You can name Batman, right? Batman, before he became Batman, he was Bruce Wayne, and he saw his parents murdered in front of him, right? When he was a young boy at nighttime by some muggers. Right, so Spider-Man, he was bit by a poisonous a spider right? The Incredible Hulk, Wonder Woman, science projects went wrong. I can go on and on and on. Any type of superhero, before they became superheroes, they went through something that was traumatic, right? But if they did not go through those traumatic things, right, I don't think they would have been the superheroes that they became to be. I don't think Batman would have been Batman if he didn't see his parents murdered in front of him. I don't think Superman would have been Superman if his planet was under attack and he had to be sent to Earth and yada yada yada, right? So the pain I is a lot of pain, but there's purpose to the pain. And that goes to Romans 8:18, one of my favorite scriptures, where it says, I reckon that the suffering of this present time is not worthy to be compared to the glory that shall be revealed in us. And that is the testimony of the superheroes, but it's also a testimony for us. When we're going through certain things, when we're in the process of life that God has taken us through, there might be some pains. There might be some troubled times where we're feeling stressed or anything like that. I definitely want to encourage us, just trust the process. Just trust it. God has a plan. God has a plan. And I'm so glad, and I'm so glad that there's purpose to that plan, because there are people who are dependent on you to go through that process. There are people on you, just like, to go back to the superhero analogy. The world needed to be saving. And if Superman did not go through his process, if Batman, Spider-Man, Wonder Woman, the Hulk did not go through those traumatic times, they wouldn't have had the superpowers that they have, and therefore thousands of lives in their world would have been taken by the evil person, right? So, that's something that I had learned on the way, and it helped me so much. It gave me peace, and knowing that, in spite of and nevertheless of what I'm going through, what I was going through in school, the teasing, right? And that I can remember me being short. It doesn't matter about the failing grades that I received in college, right? That there was purpose to those failing grades. Maybe that purpose was, so you need to study more, right? There's, something as simple as that. You need to go to class, right? But there was still purpose. There was still a lesson that needed to be learned. It wasn't just, bad things happening, right? It wasn't just, low self-esteem just for any old reason. Maybe that low self-esteem needed you to depend on God, or to look on God so you can see through his lens how he sees about you, right? So, I want to definitely encourage us that to trust the process. And an analogy that I love before I close is that it's called the ingredients of life. The ingredients of life. I'm sure we've seen a stick of butter, but have you had a stick of butter and peeled it like a Snicker bar and ate a stick of the butter stick? No, right? Nasty. But have you had put your hand in some flour, right? Got a handful of flour, shake it up like some sunflower seeds, and put it in your mouth? Nasty, right? What about if you had egg, crack the egg? Some of us may do this, but if you crack an egg and just put it in your mouth right straight, flat out, nasty, right? So no stick of butter. You haven't had a stick of butter and ate it by itself. You haven't had an egg and ate it by itself. And you haven't had the flour and eat it by itself. But have you ever had cake? Right? Cake is good. Cake tastes really, really good, right? But here's the thing. All of those things, the butter, the eggs, and the flour, they're in that cake. But by themselves, they're nasty, right? They taste bad. But if you mix it up, what God does for us in our lives, He's like the master chef. He's the top chef. I love watching cooking shows. So he's the master chef. He's the head honcho chef, right? And what he does is he throws in a little pain. He throws in a little depression. He throws in a little anxiety, low self-esteem with those things of blessings and good, all the good and the bad. He throws it all in, right? Some things are on their own nasty, right, are not good for us, but he mixes it in. He mixes it in. He mixes it in, and he creates something that's great, that tastes good, like cake, or our lives, right? So Romans 8:28 um, said that God will cause, and we know that all things work together for the good of them who love God and those are called according to his purpose, right? So God causes those good, the good things, the bad things. It doesn't matter, right? It's all part of the process. We may not know everything, but it's still part of the process that God has us on, that he had me on through my life, through my journey to be in the school system, to be an educator, to be a head basketball coach, to the journey to even be into real estate, another process that I'm going through that's kind of lumpy, it's kind of bumpy, but I believe that God has shown himself to be faithful in my life before. So I know that this bumpy road that I'm on now is for purpose. So God calls everything to work out. So even though those things that we experience in our life may taste bad, we need those ingredients. And have you ever had a cake or just even something food wise that was just missing an ingredient like salt or sugar or something like that, right? So that's how important it is for us to have all the ingredients to accept the good and the bad, right? Because there's somebody in our lives, and I'm trying to be calm, cool, and collected, but I feel so strong about this, that there's somebody in our lives that we may be in contact, that's in our circle, or that we may meet that needs to eat from our lives, that needs the nutrients, that needs it, whatever that meant, the encouraging word, whatever it may be, your testimony, right? They need it. But guess what? They won't get that nutrients. They won't get that satisfying taste that they need if we reject the ingredients of life. So the ingredients of life, again, may be good and it may be bad, but we know that God will cause everything to work out for our good. And not only for our good, but for the good of those who are connected and attached to us, right? So that's been my life. That's been the story of my life. And it's something that when I do go through tough times, I just reflect and of the goodness of Jesus. And it's as simple as that. I reflect and remember what God has done. And if he's the same God yesterday, today, and forever, and if he did it before, he can do it again. So trust the process, trust God, and I can't wait to see the future that God has for us.
Woo woo! I love it. I love it. I love it. That was so powerful. That was so encouraging. And one thing I just want everyone to know, like, Q is a perfect example. So you look at Q and people who know Q and you think, oh, he's got it all together. Or he's so great. He's so awesome. Look at all the great accomplishments he has. He's such a hard worker. Every time I see Q, he's always in a good mood, and we know that you're human, of course, but this is a perfect example of someone who has taken something that wasn't so great in their life and turned it around to work for him, and walked in the purpose that God has for him. So all of our viewers listening, there is a plan for your life, no matter who you are. Everyone listening to us, not listening, everyone in the world has a purpose for their life. You have a purpose for your life, okay? And life is hard, whether you're a toddler or 85 years old.
Right.
And speaking of have you seen how toddlers just, they just go through so much, Have you seen like a toddler just have a temper tantrum? Like life is so hard as a toddler. Seriously. So bad things may happen, tough things may happen, but it's up to you to use those things that may not be so, they may be a little inconvenient, to turn them around and to use them for your purpose. And another great thing that I love that you said, you had this passion, and you're like, you know what? Well, God, how am I supposed to pursue this passion? It feels like all the odds are stacked against me. Right. But like my grandma always says, if it's God's will, it's God's bill. If God puts a passion in your heart, don't get discouraged if you don't look the part, or you don't have enough money, or you feel like, I didn't come from the right background, I don't have the right resources. No. You don't give up. You do like Q, okay? You buckle down, you say, wait a minute. Now I know this is supposed to happen for me, so I'm gonna trust God and keep it moving. If you have bad habits, like he said he had some bad habits, you work on those things. Like it's never, ever, ever, ever too late to be what you think you should have been, okay? Just like those superheroes, like he mentioned, just keep pushing. If those things didn't happen, they wouldn't be who they are. And if you're going through a tough spot right now, what if this tough spot you're in is supposed to make you into who you're supposed to be? So embrace it and embrace God's will for your life and walk into the purpose that you have for your life, because everyone has a purpose, okay? So if you don't remember anything else, you have a purpose, and just like you, your life, the bad times, the good times, those ingredients, they make you who you are. And when you just embrace who you are, that's when you start helping other people. Yes. And it's just like a chain reaction, just like a domino effect. Okay. So do you have anything to add, Miss Portia?
I do not. I just want to give him an opportunity to give a shout out to his tall wife. Because I'm like, other than that, you got it, Takira. Shout out, Q.
Yeah, shout out to my wife, Quinton Dulic, my better half, the most beautiful woman in the world. I wouldn't be who I am without her. So it pays. It's definitely a good thing to have a great support system with you.
Woo woo! Hey, Shanae, we miss you. But thank you so much, everyone listening. If you could please go to our YouTube page. Like, share, subscribe. It takes 2 seconds just to click that little button, and also click the notification bell. So every time we post a video, you'll get a notification to come check us out. Tell all your friends. Our videos are really inspirational and will really help you. I know they will bless you and people you know, people you don't know. Just let this platform just, expand beyond, anything that you can imagine, because we have some really good content here that will help the masses, help the world. So if nothing else needs to be said, Q, we thank you so much for coming. I really enjoyed you. We have to have you on again. Thank you, Ms. Portia, for giving us this time for the Voice of the Next Generation to, let us vent about what we're going through and what we have been through and how God has changed our lives, and, give some motivational moments there. And we will check you out. No, you'll check us out tomorrow. Tune in tomorrow at 1:00. All right. We'll see you later.